Everybody says Claude Skills will transform your workflows. I spent weeks trying to prove them wrong, and yeah, turns out it's more complicated than the hype. Claude Skills claims to turn Claude into a reusable workflow machine, and the real question is whether those claims actually hold up when you push on them. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Name 1. Most popular skills are useless. The number that jumps out right away is 100. Someone went through 100 of the top-rated skills in the community library, and if you've ever burned an afternoon installing tools that do nothing for your actual work, you will already know where this is going. I looked at Nick Babbich's breakdown. He ran through 100 top-rated skills and landed on 6 worth keeping for every user, and the rest were mostly coding-focused and totally useless for knowledge workers. The trap skills have bloated skill.md files, vague triggers, and scripts you probably shouldn't trust. So the 6 of 100 number on screen is real, not cherry-picked. Charge 1 holds up. The curation problem is real, and the 6 of 100 finding is the safer framing for anyone who's not a developer. That's one of 1 claims delivering so far. And skipping the curation step doesn't just waste time, it means installing 30 skills and getting value from none of them. I know the curation trap personally because I've lived inside these tools long enough to lose real hours to skills that looked great in a tweet and did nothing in practice. Drop a comment if that's bitten you too. Claim 2. Productivity jumps 50 to 100%. That's a massive swing, and if you're doing deliverable work every day and that number is even half true, you're looking at reclaiming multiple hours every single week. The cost of getting this wrong is just grinding through the same slow workflow forever. Power users are reporting 50 to 100% gains and 40+ hours saved monthly. But this is self-reported with no sample size and no methodology I could find. So take it as a directional signal, not a controlled result. The pattern across multiple community sources does point the same way, which is pretty interesting. The honest caveat is that these are power users who've already done the curation work, so the gains aren't automatic. I'd treat the 40-hour number as a ceiling for people who've put in the setup time, not a floor for everyone who installs 1 skill and calls it done. Charge 2 delivers directionally, because the community pattern is consistent even without controlled data behind it. That's 2 of 2 claims holding up so far, and the safer read is that real gains exist for people willing to do the setup, even if the exact numbers are soft. Claim 3, 95% of users operate without skills. Think about what that actually means. You open Claude, you explain your project context, you get your output, you close the tab, and next session, Claude remembers nothing. So you type the same background again. That context tax compounds every single day you're using the tool without a skill. The 95% figure itself is unverified, and I couldn't find a data source backing it up, but the underlying mechanic is confirmed. Without a skill, you re-explain your context from scratch every session, and with 1, Claude carries that context permanently. The part that got me was how simple the fix is once you know it exists. Charge 3 holds up because the context persistence mechanic is real and documented, even if the 95% number is soft. 3 of 3 claims delivering now, and the context win alone is the safest reason to learn skills, because losing that context every session is a concrete cost you're already paying. Alright, so 3 claims are holding up, but the next 2 are where the boldest numbers live, the ones that get shared in every productivity thread. The ROI claim and the workflow versus prompt distinction are still ahead, and if either of those falls apart, it changes what you should actually do with skills. Claim 4, measurable ROI, specifically 2,000 per month in waste stopped, 90 hours saved, and 87% faster workflows. Those numbers get shared everywhere, and if you've ever used a single anecdote to justify a tool purchase and regretted it later, this is exactly the kind of claim you want to pressure test before it shapes your decision. I traced every one of those numbers back to a single community source with no methodology and no sample size, and the 87% faster workflow figure is vendor adjacent with no data behind it at all. The on-screen score for this one is a clear fall short, because a single anecdote with no controls is a story, full stop. Charge 4 falls short. Those monthly savings figures are real stories, not verified data. And the safer move is to ignore those headline ROI numbers entirely when making your decision. That drops us to 3 of 4 claims holding up, and this is the first one that genuinely doesn't survive scrutiny. Claim 5, skills are workflows, not prompts. The distinction matters because if skills are just fancy prompts, you're getting nothing you couldn't do with a well-written system message. But if they're genuinely version controlled and repeatable, that's a different category of tool and a different reason to invest the learning time. The conceptual framing is sound. Skills are described as repeatable, version controlled, and built to iterate from knowledge. But I couldn't find a single test that actually validates the workflow claim versus a prompt baseline. Enterprise governance features were added December 2025, and those are also completely untested in the evidence. So the on-screen result here is conceptual only. Charge 5 falls short because a conceptually sound claim with zero test evidence behind it is a reasonable assumption, and that's all it is right now. Final tally, 3 of 5 claims hold up, and the 2 that fall short are the boldest, most shared numbers in the skills conversation. Okay, so where Claude Skills genuinely delivers. Context persistence via Claude.md is a real win. No more re-explaining your project every session. The curation problem is real, but the 6 gems are transformative once you find them. And power users who've done the setup work do report consistent 40+ hours saved monthly, even if that's self-reported. And where Claude Skills falls short, those ROI figures are single-source anecdotes with no controls, so don't let them drive your decision. Most viral skills are coding-focused and useless for knowledge workers. And the workflow versus prompt distinction is completely untested, so the claim that skills are a different category of tool is still just a theory. Worth it if you're a knowledge worker willing to dig through 100 skills to find the 6 that work, because context persistence alone pays back that time fast. Skip it if you need the ROI story to be true, because 3 of 5 charges held up and that one didn't. One thing the marketing doesn't mention, skill.md file bloat is a real failure mode nobody warns you about upfront. If your skill.md gets too long or has vague trigger descriptions, Claude starts misapplying the skill or ignoring it entirely. And you won't know that's the problem until you've already blamed the model for a week of bad outputs. If you're stacking AI tools and want to know whether a subscription is actually worth it before you pay, I put OmniRoute through the same kind of test in the video right here. OmniRoute, is it worth setting up? Same approach, same pressure on the claims, check it out.